welcome to my channel. My name is Sasha Reade. Thank you if you're joining me for the first time. Welcome back if you're joining me again. Tonight I've got a super easy, fun, simple way of making paper bags. Now here are my paper bags that I made for my teachers this year, for my kids' teachers I should say. I put their gifts in there, so I made giant bags. I've also made smaller bags. These are bags I made about 3 years ago for teacher gifts. They take a matter of minutes. They use minimal supplies. You can do them in any size. They require no measuring, no special tools, no dies, and it's mostly because I'm lazy. So I've seen a lot of tutorials around, and I worked out a way of making up some bags where I didn't need as much measuring or trickery and pokery, jiggery pokery. I just wanted a quick and easy bag, and this is what we've got today. So I'm starting out with some designer paper. It's single-sided. You could use double-sided if you want. This is more paper than cardstock. It's a lot thinner. All you're going to do is take your paper, cut it to whatever size you want it to be. It can be a square, it can be a rectangle. I'll share with you a few different versions. I have lots of samples coming up. All you're going to do is take your piece of paper. This is a 12 by 12 piece of paper. I'm folding it to meet roughly in the middle. If you don't get the middle, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be the back of your bag. It just absolutely does not matter. Next, after we folded those two sides together and overlap them just slightly, we're going to then apply some glue. You can use tape if you've got tape. You can use double-sided tape, which is nice. It hides the seams. You could use just normal standard tape if that's all you've got. Use what you've got in your stash. Don't go crazy getting extra new things. I'm using a super strong liquid glue because it dries very quickly, so I don't have to wait for my project, but you could use a double-sided tape if you want. I was just too lazy to even do that. So I am just applying some glue to both edges and then putting those seams together. And all I do is just give it a couple seconds to dry and then move on to the next step, because I like quick, I like fast, I don't want to be sat there for ages making a ton of bags. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold it up. Now the higher you fold it up, the bigger your base will be. And I'll share that with you towards the end of the video where I've got some samples showing you exactly what I mean by that. But for now, you're going to fold it up just a bit. I didn't wait long enough for my glue to dry there. It kind of came apart a little bit. This is all real time at the moment. I do speed it up when I get to the next sample so you're not getting too bored. So I'm going ahead and you're going to push in one side. When you push it in, you're going to kind of make sure that corner is nice and puffed up and not getting scrunched. And you're going to follow the middle line. So the middle line on your corner to the middle line of your bag. You'll see what I mean. I'm going to zoom in and you'll get what I mean. So that middle line there, line it up all along. Line up the other one, and that's pretty much all that's as far as our measuring goes, unless you want to cut yourself different sized papers and want to get smaller papers. That's all you're going to have to do for measuring. Is nice and simple and easy. So we're just squishing those two edges down, and now you can see I've followed that middle line all the way across, and again all the way to the other side. Now we're going to take the bottom flap and we're going to fold it just over the middle line. Okay, so you're going to fold it up just over that middle line, and then that way it's going to kind of cover the whole bottom and you won't have a hole in the bottom. Then we're going to take adhesive, we're going to apply it to just those two triangles, as you can see I'm doing here. So only those two triangles. Do not get it in the middle, do not get it at the top, just those two triangles. If you get it anywhere else, you're going to end up with your bag sticking to itself, or whatever you put in there sticking to the bottom. Then you're going to take the top flap, you're going to fold it over the bottom one. Now when you're doing this, you're just going to eyeball it and make sure your left little diamond kind of matches your right diamond, if that makes sense. So you're going to again apply adhesive to those two triangles and then a little bit at that top bit where it's going to touch the bottom half. So if you look to the right and the left of the triangles I've just glued together, that diamond shape there should be fairly even on the top and bottom, if that makes sense. And then that way your base will be nice and even. Now all you got to do is stick your hand in there and puff it out if it's big enough for your hand to go in. I had to pull the sleeve up on my giant jumper just to get my hand in there. If you're making a smaller bag or you're struggling, then just get something like your bone folder and stick it in there and gently push it out. And I just pinch those two edges. So I puff it out with my hand and pinch those two edges. I'm using all the technical terms tonight. It's Saturday night. We're having fun, we're getting creative, and we're being lazy, and it's awesome. Okay, so now we've got our box. How awesome is that? How quick was that? This is all real time. So that was 5 minutes it took me to make this box. And yes, granted, I did wait a little bit longer for some of the glue to dry, so maybe it was closer to 5.5 minutes. Now, for an example, I'm going to plonk my used glue in there. Don't worry, I didn't give this to anybody. I'm just sharing with you how we can decorate it and kind of jazz it up a bit now. Now, there are two ways. You can fold the flap over to the front and you can embellish and decorate, or you can fold the flap over to the back. So up to you, whatever you prefer. Now I'm going ahead and I'm punching holes. Now I'm just pointing out that the middle is about there. I'm following my middle crease. However, you may have put your crease slightly off, which I do in a lot of the other bags, which it doesn't matter. So just aim roughly for the middle. I'll share with you in a minute how you can measure and get the exact center. But for now, we're just going to punch 2 holes roughly at the top. And that was my glorified hole punch there that you just saw. Don't worry, it was not a dentist tool that I brought home from the dentist. It does look like it. It's just a glorified hole punch. And it's amazing. Anyways, we're now going to run some burlap twine through. I'll try and link this down below. I got it from AliExpress. I really like it, and you'll see why in a minute, because you can take it apart and use it in another way. And I'll share that trick with you in a minute. So I tie my bows upside down because I have a higher chance of getting them straight, which is why my bag was upside down for a second. I just cannot tie a straight bow. Even though I did that, I still got a wonky to the side bow. But who cares? It fits my tag nicely in there. So here's one of the tags I made the other night. I'll link this video down below for you. I made a whole bunch of these tags, and I made even more to give away to other people. They go perfect on these bags. Now here's the trick. You're going to cut along. It's got about 10 of these little lines in it. You cut that first line off. So just snip all the way along with a nice pair of sharp scissors, and then you've got your little bit of twine. Now if you want some more of that twine, because you've cut that first one, you can just literally pull off as many as you like. Then you've got the matching string that goes with your ribbon that you've tied through your bag. So that's a handy dandy trick. And this ribbon again was only I think a couple pounds off of AliExpress with free delivery. I'll try and find it and I'll link it down below for you. I just go and make a little slip knot thingy through the top of it, and then I split those twines down the middle. And I just tie it onto my bag. I just tie it with a knot onto my bag, and then it looks like it's kind of floating there onto that gift bag. So it's a great way to add a little bit more personalization. It uses up your scraps when you make those tags, which is great, and it doesn't take much time at all. So I'll link that video down below for you can watch. But there's our finished bag. How great is that? It took us, right, we're at 7 minutes 45 seconds at the moment of my recording. So it didn't take long at all, and yes, there were a few bits I sped up just then, but it'll be 10 minutes unless you've got a full bag decorated. Right, here we go. 8x8 square. Cut this one down. Now this is where you'll need a measuring tool if you want to cut down your bags, but again, most of us have paper trimmers, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Nice even square. Folded it over, doing the exact same steps. I'm going to go ahead and stick some glue on both those edges. Again, use your double-sided tape, use your sellotape, use whatever you've got. I wouldn't use a glue stick. It probably won't hold up so well, and it will take a little while to dry, but a strong adhesive of some kind is going to work perfect. We just seal that bit, fold up the end. Super easy, super simple. You could crease with a bone folder if you wanted, but I never found I needed to. It all worked out just fine. And again, push in one side, follow that middle line, and you can't really go wrong. It's so quick and easy. I've made, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 30 of these now. I made a bunch of little ones. I made the big ones for the teacher's gifts. It's a really quick and easy way to make a bag. So you could use wrapping paper for this. I saw another friend, my friend Hannah, made it with wrapping paper. She did a slightly more beautiful complex one that looked a lot prettier than mine, but she used wrapping paper for hers. You can use the brown paper. I have a huge roll of brown paper that I bought from Amazon, like the recycled brown paper. And I use that for wrapping all my gifts, and it works perfect for these, which is why I did the teacher's bags in. So again, I just puffed out those bottom edges, and then this time we're going to just trim off those corners, and it just gives you a slightly more finished look as well. If you've got an edge punch, you could punch the edges of that and do a decorative edge. Now here's how you can get the exact center. I've got my Tim Holtz centering ruler. You just line it up so it's even on the left and the right, and then your center point is right there in the middle. And then you can just punch to the left and to the right of that center mark that you've made. Super quick, super easy if you want to be a bit more particular about where you're going with your holes. Now I've just got some white thread with some silver in it. I thought that would go well with my white spots on my paper bag. And at this point I realized that I put the seam on the wrong side. I wanted the front to be without the seam, so I've just flipped over my whole little hole punched areas, which meant they did go a little bit wonky, but it was still manageable. I still got the string through in the end. So nice and quick and easy. You can even muck up on the way and nobody really knows, because bottom line, the end of the day, it's what's inside that's going to be exciting, isn't it? You'll see in a minute, I make up some for my bin men with some chocolates in it. And here we have our finished bag with the tag nicely attached using the matching string. So super simple again. Now we're moving on to a 6 by 12 piece of paper. So I just cut the cardstock right down in half and I'm folding it with the long edges in towards each other. I'm going ahead and applying some glue again so I can seal it. So again, this just gives us a slightly different shaped bag. So instead of having a tall and skinny, we're now having a more short and fat, if that makes sense. I've folded the base a bit thin, so we've got kind of a sort of skinny bottom or a narrow bag, if that makes sense. Again, it's the same thing for this. You're just folding it over the top, middle bit, just a little bit over the middle, not over the top. Folding the top bit down, trying to make sure you've got kind of matching end triangles, if that makes sense. And you just fold it over and let that adhesive stick and dry. And then you can come in and pop out those corners and you've just got a nice, fun, different shaped kind of bag. So again, you just fold over the top and decorate and embellish. So if you needed a longer bag, that's how you can do a longer one. Okay, so moving along, if you need to have a base in your bag, if you need to put something that's heavier in your bag and you don't want that base to pop open, this is how you can measure and get a little bit of a base in there to give it more stability. So you're going to measure from the one side to the other. So this is about 3.5 roughly wide. So I'm just going to write my measurement down on my bit of paper. So we're going to go with 3.25 instead of 3.5 because I want to make it just slightly smaller. I don't want it to damage the bag or poke out the side of the bag. Again, on this one, it's just shy of 2.5. So I'm going to go with 2.25 on that side. And that's how you measure what you're going to cut your inside to. So now, if you've got your paper pad that you got with your paper, it usually comes with some kind of hard base on the end of it, on the back of it. That is great for sticking inside these boxes. Alternatively, any old bit of cardboard, so packaging, anything like that, you can use that up as well. This is nice and thin. It's not overly thick, so I can cut it really easily on my paper trimmer. If you've got thick cardboard, then you can go ahead and cut it from each side. So you'll cut it at 2.25 and then flip it over, line it up at 2.25, and then you should be able to cut it. Now we're going to go ahead and stick that into the bottom. It should fall nice and easily into there, and you can see it just adds that element of stability. It's going to even out the weight. So you can gift your friend 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of her favorite ever Nuvo glues. Well, maybe 4 even. For a special friend like me, you could give some glue. But this makes it nice and sturdy, and now that bottom is not going to pop open at all. It's nice and firm and it doesn't feel at all unstable. On my big paper bags that I shared with you at the beginning, which the photos will be at the end again as well, I put bottles of wine in them. So they were nice and stable and sturdy. I did use thicker chipboard in the bottoms, but it works a treat. So here's the 6x6 paper. I'm just sharing with you, if you fold the end up deeper or wider, then you will get a wider base. So again, just to share with you so you can have a visual, if you fold it up nice and big, that will equal the big base. If you fold it up just a little bit, you end up with the thinner, smaller base. So that's the easiest way to kind of remember. If you want a bigger, more open and round bag, go higher up with your fold. So as you can see, that's what I did for that one. And that's what I did for that one. Super easy, super quick, super simple. Shouldn't cause you any grief. It's really quite hard to go wrong with this. So moving along, we're going to decorate and embellish our little ones. These are great because you can add 2 to 3 of these like Lindor chocolates in there. And I did gift these to my bin men. I gave them a bottle of beer each, box of cookies and a few chocolates. I didn't want to have to give everyone a box of chocolates because it was going to break the bank, but I wanted to give them all something that was really nice. So I thought I'll make up these little bags, put some chocolates in there, and they can all have a few chocolates. Now, for these little ones, I'm just doing one hole in the top and tying some twine around. Then I've got my hole punch. These are the bits that I use for making my tag that I said I'd link the video for down below. And all I did was add those on. So here again are my bags that I have made for teachers' gifts a couple years ago and this year. I so appreciate you being with me today. Please do like and subscribe. Drop me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you again on Christmas Eve for some more crafting fun. Take care. Bye.